Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into some absolutely groundbreaking research on traumatic brain injury. It suggests that the real key to recovery might not be some new fancy drug, but a hidden defense system that's already built right into our own bodies. So let's just start with this powerful and, frankly, pretty counterintuitive idea. When it comes to something like a brain injury, what if the most lasting damage doesn't actually come from the initial hit, but from the body's own, well, chaotic attempt to fix itself? See, to even begin to understand a potential solution, we first have to get our heads around the real problem with traumatic brain injuries, or TBI for short. And it all comes down to this idea of a secondary injury. Think of it like this. The initial impact, that's like an earthquake. It's sudden, it's violent, it's destructive. But the real, long-term danger is the fire that breaks out afterward. That fire is neuroinflammation. It's the body's own immune system basically overreacting, causing this secondary wave of damage that can be even worse than the earthquake itself. This inflammatory fire, it gets so hot that it can literally start to melt the walls. It begins to break down the blood-brain barrier, which is our brain's ultra-selective security gate, and once that gate is breached, the brain's delicate circuits are left totally vulnerable and exposed, which, as you can imagine, just makes everything a whole lot worse. So, the huge question is, how in the world do you fight a fire inside the most complex organ in the body? Well, it turns out scientists found a clue hidden within our own internal wiring, a system that can act like the brain's very own built-in fire department. Now, this system has two key players, and it is super important we get this distinction right. We are not talking about the CB1 receptor. That's the one you've probably heard about. It's in the central nervous system and is associated with psychoactive effects. Our entire focus, is on its cousin, the CB2 receptor. This one is found mainly in our immune cells, and it acts like a master regulator of inflammation, all without any of those psychoactive side effects. And look, this isn't just a hunch. Research confirms it. The CB2 receptor is a master modulator of our immune system. It really is that firefighter we've been looking for, with the ability to dial down that out-of-control inflammatory response. Okay, so we've identified this potential firefighter within our own bodies. But, does it actually show up to the blaze? Just how crucial is it really? To test that, researchers ran a really clever experiment. They basically asked a simple question. What happens if we take this CB2 fighter out of the equation? What if it's just offline during a brain injury? And wow, the evidence here is about as clear as it gets. In lab models where that CB2 receptor was either blocked or just genetically deleted, the signs of that destructive inflammatory fire, those markers, shot through the roof after an injury, way, way higher than in the models with a normal, functioning CB2 system. So here's the bottom line. The CB2 receptor isn't just a bystander. It's an active, absolutely essential part of our body's own defense team. It's a natural brake on that inflammatory response that our brain desperately relies on after something traumatic happens. And if you need any more proof, get this. The research shows that just 24 hours after a TBI, the brain goes into absolute overdrive. The gene expression for the CB2 receptor in the brain's blood vessels skyrockets a staggering 23-fold. The body is literally screaming for more firefighters. So, the brain is sending out a massive SOS. It's calling for reinforcements. The next logical step for researchers then was to develop a highly specialized tool designed to answer that exact call. And that tool is a synthetic molecule called PM289. The best way to think about it is like a perfect master key, one that's been engineered with incredible precision to fit only one lock in the entire body, the CB2 receptor. Its whole job is to find that lock, turn the key, and activate the body's own anti-inflammatory defenses. And when it turns that key, you get this amazing triple action response. First, it strengthens the brain's walls, plugging the leaks in the blood-brain barrier. Second, it calms that inflammatory storm itself. And third, it actively helps speed up the repair of the very cells that make up that barrier. I mean, the impact on healing is just remarkable. In lab models that looked at the cells lining the brain's blood vessels, this research found that when they activated the CB2 receptor with PM289, wound repair happened in almost half the time. That's like doubling the speed of the entire repair crew. And you can really see its anti-inflammatory power right here. So when cells get damaged, they put out this signal called ICAM1. Think of it like a bright red flare that calls more immune cells to the area, which just fuels the fire. But when PM289 is in the mix, that flare gets significantly dimmed. It's effectively telling the immune system, hey, stand down, we've got this under control. So what does all of this add up to for the bigger picture? Well, this research is pointing to a whole new strategy, not just fighting the fire, but actually reinforcing the brain's most critical defense system during its most vulnerable moments. And that defense system is, of course, the blood-brain barrier. Protecting this gatekeeper is one of the single most important goals in treating any kind of brain injury. If that gate holds, the brain stays safe. It's that simple and that important. And the research showed that PM289 does exactly that. By activating those CB2 receptors right on the cells of the barrier, it helps reinforce the gate, which markedly prevents the leakiness that inflammation causes. It helps preserve the brain's safe space. So why does all this matter so much? What's the really big takeaway here? Well, this isn't just about traumatic brain injury. Learning how to precisely activate our internal firefighter, that CB2 receptor, gives us a targeted, non-psychoactive tool to control inflammation in the brain. This could literally open up entirely new playbooks for treating a whole host of devastating neurological conditions, from stroke to Alzheimer's and beyond. Which leaves us with this one final, kind of mind-blowing thought. For years, we've been searching for external things to fix the brain. But what if the most powerful tool for healing has been inside of us this whole time? Just, waiting for us to figure out how to flip the switch?